Hey, this is Meridith Elliott Powell, and welcome to another episode of Thrive, turning uncertainty into your competitive advantage. Today, it may look like I am doing Sales Logic because my guest today is my co-host on Sales Logic, Mark Hunter. Hey, Mark, welcome to the show.
Hey, good afternoon. We got a really good show plan. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong.
That's right. We'll do that. We'll do that on Saturday. Listen, this is the show where we talk about the strategies, we dive into the steps, everything that you need to know to really make this uncertainty something that works for you rather than against you. So I can think of a better topic, something that we really need to discuss, and that is a mind for sales, just mindset in general. But Mark, I want to start off by asking the question I ask every guest on the show. What are the biggest challenges you think your clients are facing this day as we are entering second quarter of 2021? What's the biggest things that they're grappling with and they're dealing with?
The biggest thing right now is preventing from becoming overwhelmed because of all the distractions out there. If there's a time for companies and people to be focused on their priorities, is now more than ever because things are starting to race at hyper speed. Got to get focused. Have to.
So how important is mindset in that?
Well, it's huge because this whole thing, you can lay out, like Thrive, in your book, Thrive, I've had a chance to read it. You lay out a prescription spot on, but you think about that. Every one of those companies that you profile in that book, if the leadership did not have the right mindset, there's no way they would have made it. You talk about companies that have gone through the Depression, gone through 2 world wars, and all the changes along the way. It really comes down the mindset. This was interesting. I heard this from Warren Buffett the other day. He said, focus trumps intelligence. Think about that for a moment. Focus trumps intelligence. Huge.
Yeah. It's, and then why is focus so difficult? Here's the thing that I'm always struck by is I don't ever think when we reveal books or strategies or formulas, or even what Warren Buffett just said, it's not rocket science, right? So why is focus so important? And then why is focus so difficult?
Did I tell you that Warren lives down the street from me? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway.
One of the few revealing things about living in Omaha, right?
Hey, excuse me, man. Wow. Anyway, hey, here's the whole thing. We live in an attention deficit disorder world. Let's not kid. There's so much stuff happening out there. There's so many demands on our attention. And as a result, it becomes harder and harder for us to get focused, to get our attention. So what happens is we just wind up becoming distracted. I was reading an article this morning, CNBC. Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors, has been going through making some very difficult decisions over the last, I don't know, she's been CEO now about 7 or 8 years. And she's now it really is starting to pay off. But now think about that. The decisions she's been making have been kind of controversial. But she's held firm. She knows where her game plan is taking her, and she stays the course. And this is one of the big challenges right now that people are being challenged on the course they're on because there's too many shiny objects. Squirrel. And the distractions are many, and the rewards may seem many, but the rewards are few because of the distractions.
So how do you know you're focused on the right things?
Well, that comes back to really understanding your marketplace and understanding where you are. And I'm going to go back to your book, Thrive. Every one of those companies, think about this. They knew exactly what their role was in the marketplace, and they knew the outcome that they could help people. And this is the big challenge. I talk about this a lot. You have to know the outcome. What is the outcome that you create? And be confident that there's a market out there for that. Now, you did not profile any companies that sell buggy whips and that sort of stuff,
right?
Because they knew where they had to go. But several of the companies you profiled did shift what they make, but it was still focused on the outcome. This whole thing, know what your outcome is. Know who is your ideal customer profile and stay focused on that.
I think it's interesting. I always tell people that you need to be married to the values and what you want to do, but you don't be married to the product that you sell. I mean, look at us. I mean, a year 15 months ago, we were on the road constantly. Now we do everything from the comfort of our own home. So if we've been hell bent to deliver it how we had always deliver it, we wouldn't have worked at all.
See, you bring up something there, and think about this. It is not what you make. It is not what you sell. It is the outcome you create. For like you and I, we're speakers. We're on the stage. Yeah. Our message didn't change. The outcome we delivered didn't change. It was just how we deliver it. Mm-hmm. That's what you have to look at. That's what you have. And I'm going to go back to Mary Barra. She's made the commitment to be out of internal combustion engines by 2035. Now, that's kind of a controversial decision, but she's still in the still in the transportation business, It's just the means is changing from an internal combustion engine to something alternative fuels, most likely electric. I don't know their business plan well enough, but what does this mean? She knows the outcome and she's staying focused on that.
So, Mark, you released a Mind for Sales right in the middle of this pandemic. First of all, tell the audience a little bit about what a Mind for Sales is about.
Well, it's about having a mindset because, again, I can know the process, but if my head is not in the game with understanding you, the customer, and being willing to listen to the customer, here's the big difference. Having a mind for sales means that I can show up for a presentation. I can show up for a sales call. And all I want to do is have a conversation because I'm comfortable enough that you're going to help guide me along. The person who doesn't have their head in the game needs to show up with the presentation. They need to show up and they need to go through this whole scripted thing. I firmly believe this. Having a mind for sales allows you to really see opportunities where other people don't. Allows you to be prepared. You and I, in fact, it's funny, this morning, I believe it was about 4:45 my time, I was responding to an email that you had already sent me. Okay, yeah. That's a little bit weird. But I firmly believe that first 60 to 90 minutes of my day sets the tempo for my day. And there's key things that I'm doing throughout the day. Having a mind for sales means by 10 a.m., I can ask myself, what significant accomplishments have I been able to achieve? Have I been able to deliver value? And that's what I call the 10 a.m. rule. And I find that absolutely critical for anybody. You want to be successful. You want to make sure that you've knocked success out of the park by 10 a.m. Right. And in doing so, then, wow, you just keep motoring through the day.
Yeah, I love that you basically talked about the first few minutes of the day, because I think it really does matter. I think you should really protect that morning routine, because I feel like the way you enter the day sets everything up for how the day is going to roll. And if you don't have time to do it in the morning, then you just need to set the alarm. You just need to get up just a little bit differently. But always know that I can text you at 4 a.m. because you're one of the few people that won't mind.
Now, let's jump on that for a minute, because I don't believe in email first thing in the morning. I don't. But there are a couple people who I do tend to respond, because you and I, we do partner together on a variety of different things. So you're one of the few emails that I will respond to. You, a couple of my clients, and my employees. That's it. I don't get into email till later on in the morning, because I'm absolutely focused. But even before I responded to that email to you, I had already reviewed my priorities for the day, my outcomes, and how I was going to allocate my time. And my calendar today is totally filled all the way through, not all with meetings with other people. Some of them are meetings with myself, but I'm going to take care of this activity, this activity, this activity. See, having a mind for sales means that I'm using my time wisely. So
that's interesting. You schedule meetings with yourself?
Yes. And it's the arguments we get into is just it's through the roof. Yeah. But here's what it does. It keeps me on focus. It keeps me on track, because otherwise what happens, and you do this from a prospecting standpoint, I know you set aside selling time every day. Yes. Yeah, you set that aside. And I set that aside because, again, otherwise what happens is the day begins to control us.
Yeah.
And then we're in trouble. You see, we don't have a time management problem. We have a priority management problem. And if you can't assign priorities, then you'll never be able to control your time.
Yeah, the way that I do it is I think part of it, and I say this a lot, is you really have to know yourself. And so the first thing I do in the morning after I grab a cup of coffee is I skim my emails, because I just want to know if there's anything critical or important in there. And if not, so I might answer one or two. And then I let them go. I'm not going to touch them again. I meditate, I read my goals, and then I have my very focus before I leave the office every day. I make a list of the first 5 things I want to get accomplished in the next day. And that way I'll check emails again at noon. I'll check them again at the close of the day. I always just skin them, though, for something that has to be answered immediately. If it doesn't have to be answered immediately, I don't answer it immediately. The reason for me is, one, I don't want you to I don't want to train you that I'll be Johnny on the spot with an email. The other is, if there is something that can generate me revenue, that needs to take the priority.
Yeah. Now, audience, pay attention. Meridith said she grabs a cup of coffee. I'm draining my second pot of coffee here today. Okay. So that's just a little difference between the two of us. So just saying.
Yeah. I stop at cup number, if I get up at 4, it's going to be 3 cups of coffee. If I get up at 5, it's going to be 2 cups of coffee.
3 cups. Come on. You can do better than that. Come on, Meridith.
I'm a lightweight. Mark, where should somebody start who's struggling with this?
Struggling in terms of mindset?
Yeah, is struggling in terms of getting their head right, choosing priorities. Like you said, so many people feel overwhelmed.
Yeah. First of all, you got to do three things. First of all, take a piece of paper and write down all of the outcomes that you've helped people achieve over the previous 6 months or a year. And I love doing this exercise. You write down not what you sold, not what you did, but write down how did you help people? You see, sales and business is about helping others see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. So take some time, look at that list, and give yourself a big hug. Go, hey, I'm pretty good. This is pretty good. Then what you want to do is you want to sit there and say, okay, what are my big challenges? What are my big opportunities? Challenges, that's a better word. Opportunities that I want to achieve over the next 6 months. Don't get specific, and just jot down 2 or 3. That's it. 3, ask yourself this question. Who are the people that you can align yourself with? Sales is not a solo activity. Sales is a team sport. And you become the sum of the 5 people you associate with the most. You and I share a mastermind group, and we get a tremendous amount of value out of it because we are constantly helping each other, sharing ideas. And what do? We really lift each other up. You see, so what you have to do is you have to surround yourself with like people. And then the one final piece that you have to realize is accept the fact that there are going to be tremendous demands in your time. And you know what? Be thankful. Be thankful that you have demands in your time. My calendar invites are overflowing. I can't accept them all. But you know what? I look at that and I go, that's cool. That's neat. That means I must be doing something right. So don't wallow in the mud. Stand on the dirt and elevate yourself higher. Okay, that was a weird picture. What the heck?
Well, it almost worked. It almost worked.
Like I said, I made the upper half of my class possible. So,
So, you've sort of been known for the prospecting piece of it. I mean, you're really passionate. What made you back up and want to write a mind for sales?
Well, hey, why I wrote them. See, my first book was High Profit Selling, which was about how to maximize price.
Okay.
Because that was a book I felt had never been written before. And I wrote the book and I thought, I'm done. I've written my one book. I'm going to be a one book wonder and done. And then people said, they said, hold it. How do we find the right people? So that's what led me to write the book, High Profit Prospecting. And I got done with High Profit Prospecting. I said, that's it. I'm done. I've written 2 books. That's it. Done. But then people said, okay, you tell me exactly in the book how to write everything, how to prospect step by step, very prescriptive book. But my head's not in the right place. That's what caused me to write A Mind for Sales. Really what I was doing, I'm just doing the Star Wars prequel thing. You should really start with A Mind for Sales, then read High Profit Prospecting and High Profit Selling. But that's another story.
So again, when you got down to a mind for sales, sort of take us through the book. Tell us what the premise is, what we gain, what was behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. People sit there and say, okay, with the last name Hunter, you've probably been in sales your whole life.
Yeah.
No, Hunter's my real last name. I owe that to my dad. Thank you. But here's the whole thing. I did not want to go into sales. In the first couple of chapters of my book, I tell my life story starting in college. And you see, I went to college. I really wanted to be a disc jockey, but you can't tell your parents that's what tuition. But hey, I had great concert tickets. Believe me, that was cool. Great backstage passes. I met a lot of people. Anyway, what I did was I got a degree in marketing. Well, I went to school to get a degree in marketing because that was an easy degree. And remember, I made the upper half of my class possible. And I was all set to graduate. And my future was going to be writing probably bad furniture store copy, okay, for radio ads and so forth. And what happened was my career path changed because of the Seattle Police Department. I went to college in Seattle, and the Seattle Police Department changed my career. I got 4 speeding tickets in the course of about 8 or 9 weeks. Now, nobody was hurt, nobody was harmed, but I paid the tickets because I thought that's what okay, I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to pay the tickets. And then I forgot about it. But it was about July of that year. I'm still kind of in the job search mode. And because I was lazy. And I get this notice from my insurance company inviting me. They weren't dropping me. They were inviting me into the high risk pool, which meant my insurance was now going to be more than I was paying for the apartment I was renting and my car payment. I mean, it was through the roof. I suddenly realized I couldn't afford car insurance. I couldn't afford a car. Yeah. So, being a smart college graduate, I say, I got to get a job that supplies me with a car. Well, that's not going to be taxi cab driver, not going to be a bread truck driver. That's what actually put me into sales. And I did that. I got a sales. Now remember, you're getting a sales job with a company that doesn't do background checks. So, it's not exactly a high quality job you're getting. Okay. But I was selling sides of beef to restaurants. Now that's really kind of, hey, Mom, Dad, this is what I went to college for, but I had a car. I had that job for a year and I got fired. I got another job, supplied me with a company car. In fact, I got married during that time, and I had that job for 8 months and I got fired from that job.
Wow.
Yeah. So you are listening to a person who was fired from their first 2 sales jobs. So I go to a third sales job, again with a company car. And I still remember the meeting. I'd been there a few months, and I was sat down in the big guy's office. And I thought I was going to get fired from that job. But what he did was he really set me straight as to why I'm in sales. You see, I had viewed sales as really customers are just bowling pins. Your objective is to knock them down, take their money, and run. We have a good friend, Larry Levine. He calls it commission breath. That's what I had. I had a bad case of commission breath. Problem was I was leaving chaos and mayhem behind me. And this boss sat me down and said, you have to focus on the customer. You have to take the time to listen to the customer. Now, I was 24, 25 years of age at the time. I didn't know what that meant. It took me a while. I'm a slow learner. But over the years, it's really paid off that when you get focused on the customer, it's amazing. Then you know how you're going to help them. So that's what took me to prospecting, because here's the whole thing. Everybody's afraid to prospect. Everybody's afraid. I can't prospect. Prospecting is absolutely a kick in the pants, because here's the whole thing. If I'm contacting you and you fit my ICP, I have an obligation.
Ideal customer profile for anybody who doesn't know.
Yes, thank you. Ideal customer profile. I owe it to you to reach out to you, because my belief is this. If I know I can help you, I have an obligation to reach out to you. And if I don't reach out to you, I'm actually doing you a disservice.
I do.
That's my attitude towards prospecting. And I'll tell you what, it's worked. And it's at the core of the strategy that I use. And that comes back to mindset. Think about that. My mindset is, if I know I can help you, I'm gonna pick up the call. I'm gonna pick up the phone and call. It's why I love making prospecting calls on Friday afternoons. Friday afternoons, people are freaking out over that. Oh, who wants to talk? I love making prospecting calls. And this is to your sweet spot, senior level people.
Yes.
Senior level people. They're in the office. They're working. And they're a little more laid back. I have great conversations on Friday afternoons. Boom.
Well, let me ask you this. So it's hard to believe because we're coming to the end of the show here. And there's two questions I always like to wrap up with. Number one is, what's your greatest piece of advice to the audience? What do they need? What do they need to be focused on? I want to know how to get the book. I want to know basically what your thoughts are around, I know you're relaunching and all those great things. I guess I have three questions. How do people get a hold of you? How do they follow you? Because listen, if you want to prospect, if you want to get your mindset right, if you really want to know how to take price off the table, you need to connect with Mark Hunter.
Well, you first need to buy the book Thrive. You need to buy the book Thrive. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. Then you got to listen to Sales Logic every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. Okay. Now, yeah, okay. I'm at thesaleshunter.com. That's the website. And you can go to Amazon, find my books there. I'm all over the internet. I do, because I believe the internet allows me to fulfill this commitment. Your reputation arrives before you do. And I know, you're on social media a lot. Yes. But what's funny is you and I are both thinking, it's not like we're on social media a lot. We're just very deliberate, very focused. Then we get out. We don't spend hours on social media. Very, very quick. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You find my YouTube channel, but hey, thesaleshunter.com is the best place. And the book, A Mind for Sales. And yeah, it's game. I tell you what, it came out a year ago, right at the start of the pandemic. And people said, man, how did you write a book so fast? It's so timely. It's kind of like your book, Thrive. I mean, your book right now is perfect timing as this economy explodes.
Yeah.
We are in uncertain times. So the book Thrive. So, hey, you and I are just smart people. That's
right. But in all kidding aside with that, I do think that's kind of what we do as salespeople and as business owners. You're looking and you're constantly paying attention to the problems and challenges that people are talking to you about. That's why you appear to be one step ahead. It's not really that you're just really paying attention. When you start to see themes and threads, you think, I could help with that. I could solve that problem. I could jump on that.
Yeah, there's something. I had a year ago when I came out with my book, a lot of people said, don't come out with now, wait till after the pandemic. If I had followed that advice, I'd still be waiting. But see, I was committed to the outcome I was going to create. I believed in my outcome. And I believed in the strategy I had put together, i.e., Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors, is taking her advice from me. No. Anyway, but when you believe in the outcomes, you take the steps to make it happen. It's really what you're doing with your book, Thrive. I mean, you've been working on this thing for several years. It's a major project. And again, the timing, boom. And nobody's going to tell you to change the timing. No, because this is when you need to go.
Yeah. Joe, I can't thank you enough. Yeah, I tell you, I feel really lucky to be partnered up with Mark here. We will definitely connect to you because we would love to see you every week as a follower, as you are often, and anything you can do to help promote. Always remember, if you have questions, I'm going to talk about Sales Logic for a moment. If you have questions, don't hesitate to pop on the Sales Logic podcast.com. Mark and I are constantly really trying to bring relevant information into the marketplace. So I just thought I would pop that on there. Mark, when you think about this coming year, and there is going to be a lot of uncertainty in this coming year. I was just doing a television interview today, and we were talking about, they said, do you feel like the uncertainty is past us? And it was all I could do not to laugh. I thought, my gosh, we're dealing with new strains. We're dealing with what will inflation do? Will interest rates go up? Will the borders open? When will we be allowed to, work globally? I mean, there's just so much going on. With that, what do you sort of see for 2021, being the optimist that I know you are?
Well, yeah, I'm an optimist. I'm very positive. I think we're going to have two consecutive quarters of 10% plus GDP. And let me tell you something. I don't think that's ever been done 2 quarters back to back, maybe post World War II. I'm not sure, but I wasn't around back then. But think about, so the economic growth is going to be absolutely significant as the supply chain, which is totally, I mean, we got major issues in chip supply and everything else right now, lumber pricing, everything else. So this means there's still a tremendous amount of pent up demand. We're going to be rocketing into 2022 with significant growth opportunities, which is going to put constraints on labor, real issues around labor, and that'll sort itself out over the next 3, 4, 5 months. We've got continued conversation on a political, sociological front and so forth. That's not going to die down. But you know what? You and I have another good friend who has said, you can't change the political dynamics out there. You can't change society. So the best way to survive is just focus on your business. That's what I tell people right now. Focus on your business.
Focus on what you can control and forget about the rest. Well, Mark, I can't thank you enough for joining us for this episode of Thrive, Turning Uncertainty to Competitive Advantage. Listen, good luck on the relaunch of A Mind for Sales. If you do not have a copy of this book, you really need it. Getting your mindset right will not only help you from a business development standpoint, but it is going to do so much to help you in every other facet of your business. Follow Mark at thesaleshunter.com. He puts out phenomenal videos, phenomenal blogs, really good information that you need for the premise of this show, which is to turn all of this uncertainty into your competitive advantage. We'll see you next week with another topic, another guest, and more ideas to put you in the driver's seat and 100% in control of where you're going, where you're headed, and this uncertainty. See you next week.